guys, it's Kelly, and today I'm talking about my September reading plans. Now, I could have called this a TBR video, but technically it's a little more nebulous than a TBR, a strict TBR, because I don't have like a set of like, these are the 5 books I'm going to read this month. Kind of what I'm doing is, since I'm moving, I am trying to finish up some books that I have started and haven't gotten around to finishing, so I can either get rid of them or pack them away and not bring like a bunch of half-finished books with me. And also I have some books I got from the library that I obviously need to either read or give back to the library before I move, because we're moving in 2 weeks from this house and I can't take the library books with me. So that's why it's not a strict TBR, because I don't have like exact ones I want to read, but I have a huge stack of ones that I'm like, I like to get through as many of these as possible, and there's kind of like 2 themes to them. So like I said, some are the library books and some are books that I've started. So I have 2 readathons that I kind of want to do this month, and they will help with these because they're long. Like, one is really long and will have lots of different challenges, so it'll help me like pull from the ones I already have, and then another one will be completely about finishing books. So let me just explain how that works. So one of the readathons I want to do is called the TBR Jar Readathon, and it's hosted by Eliza from Dusk Angel Reads, and it is a week-long readathon from September 8th to the 14th. I will link her announcement video down below. And the way she's going to do it is that she'll have a TBR jar where she puts in either all of her books from her TBR or a select few, and then as she goes to read a book, she'll pull one out of the jar, read that book. When she's finished, pull another one out of the jar and continue. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all my half-finished books and I'm going to put them in a jar, and during that week I will pull them, but they'll only be books that I've already started, and I'm going to hope to like finish as many of these as possible through that readathon. So that's what I'm going to do with that. And the other readathon that I want to do is the Emojiathon, which has several hosts, but the one that I heard it from was Spencer from Come and Spence. So I'll link his announcement video down below. And it's very open readathon because it's a month long. It's the entire month of September, and has a bingo board with like all of the different challenges. And since there's so many challenges and possibilities to fill out the challenges, I feel like I can either use some of the ones that I haven't finished or some of my library books to fulfill the challenge and still be participating in a readathon. So they're low pressure readathons so that I can still accomplish these goals. So I'm just going to run through real quick some of the books that I might be reading. So first, I wanted to share with you the 14 books that I am halfway or partway through. And you are hearing me right, 14 books. Like, I often will read more than one book at a time, and I'm notorious for starting a book and then like putting it aside and starting another book. And I just need to get some of these books done because I can't take 14 books that I've partly read with me. That just seems ridiculous, since some of these I probably won't even be keeping. If I want to get rid of them, I should be getting rid of them now. And some of them I probably will DNF too. So that's why I'm challenging myself that if I pull it from the jar, that I either read that book and finish it, or I officially DNF it and move on from it. Because some of these I've kind of like low-key DNF'd, so I need to like stop being sitting on the fence. So I'm going to show you, I have these 14 books. The only one I don't have a physical copy of is the second book in 12, what is it called? The Jenny Han book, sequel to To All the Boys I Loved Before, P.S. I Still Love You. That one I have the ebook on Scribd that I'm reading, and I don't have a physical book. So that's one, and I'm definitely going to finish that. I had just finished To All the Boys I Loved Before a few days ago, and I am like a few chapters into the sequel, so I will definitely finish that book, but it's on my phone, so I'm not like panicked about reading it. And then I have some books that I've been reading for months. So these are all ones right now that I've read for a long time. So first is The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells, which you have probably seen me say that I'm in the middle of reading this several times. I'm still at about the 60% point, so I need to finish this or give it up because I'm not like super loving it like I did The Time Machine, so I just need to make that choice. The next one is Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson, and I was enjoying this book. I started this book, gosh, it's probably been like 10 months now. Isn't that sad? And I got halfway through and then I just stopped reading it. I had no reason, but I decided to do a buddy read with Dane Reads, and they're reading this week, so it'll be starting on Monday. So I will definitely be reading this book next week. And I figured by doing a buddy read of it, it'll make me finish it. And then the next one is Where'd You Go, Bernadette by Maria Stemple. If you have been with me since the beginning of my channel, I started this book the first month I was on BookTube because my daughter's name is Bernadette, and it was like part of a, I'm going to read my books with my daughter's names in it. And I got 100 pages in, and I just kind of got a little bored with the plot. So I either need to officially DNF this or keep going. So this is one I could end up DNFing because I was like on the fence whether I liked it. So I'm going to give it one more chance. The next one is Into the Wilde by Jon Krakauer. This is another that you've probably seen me say I'm reading several times because I keep meaning to pick it up. And the funny thing is, I started it and I got this far, which is 60 pages in, all in like one sitting. So I was enjoying it, but then I just kind of got to a lull in the story and put it down and never picked it back up. So it's probably been like 6 months since I've picked this up. And then the last of my longer ones is The Longest Ride by Nicholas Sparks. I started reading this in November. So what is that, like 8 months ago, something like that? And I got quite a long ways, like halfway, and then just kind of put it aside because I'm not sure I'm loving Nicholas Sparks anymore, but I am halfway through. So I needed to make that decision of like, do I just read the next 150 pages and be done, or give up? And then I've got a few that I started recently. So they've only been sitting around a month, so they aren't like to the point of like needing to DNF. I just need to like read them. And one is Poison Study by Maria V. Snyder. This is a reread for me. I wanted to reread the series, and one day I got inspired to start it and only got about 40 pages in and then haven't picked it back up. But that was only like 3 weeks ago or something that I started it, so I do want to keep going on that one. A Long Way Home by Saru Brealey. I started this on my vacation a few weeks ago, and I stopped reading it just because I got a little way, like a third. It's just hard content, like tough stuff going on in his life, so it just was taking me a while. So I need to do this one as more like I read a couple chapters in a day and then like fill in with fiction books because it is a little bit of a tough topic. Next one is Emerald Green by Kirsten Gear, and I started this on my vacation a few weeks ago as well, and I was reading it while I was sick, and then when I stopped being sick I put it down, and I got like almost halfway, and this is the third in a trilogy, so I'm just going to like need to just force myself to finish this because it shouldn't take very long to just sit down and finish it. And then Let's Talk About Love by Claire Kahn, and I got over halfway, like 60% of the way through this book. And this is a new release, like it's only been out for a few months, I think. I'm not for sure, but I think it's pretty new. And a lot of people were hyping it during Pride Month because the main character is asexual, and so I read it because I thought that would be interesting to hear from an asexual character. And the problem is I like the asexual like representation and learning about that, but I haven't been loving the plot, so it's just taking me forever because I just can't get into the book, even though I'm 60% of the way. I just like read a chapter and then I'm like, I don't really want to read anymore, and I put it down. So, but I've so far invested, I feel like I should finish it. And then the last of the more recent reads is A Darker Shade of Magic, and this one I just started last week, so I've only had it put down for a few days. So I feel confident that I'm going to finish this. I've made it close to halfway point, and I'd started reading it because Spencer at Common Spence was doing his Darker Shade of Readalongs, and my plan had been to finish it before the live show last weekend, and that didn't happen. So I put it down because I didn't make it in time for the live show, and so I just need to pick it back up and finish it. And I also went to the library and got the second book so that when I finish this, I can pick this up to have it done before the next live show happens in September. And then I have a couple books. The last three are books that I started as audiobooks, and I think I just kind of got out of the audiobook feel. Because I'm moving, and so like I was listening to a lot of audiobooks, and then in the last couple weeks I haven't listened to any audiobooks, so it just put them down. So I got the physical books from the library thinking maybe I would finish them in physical book. And one was The ABC Murders by Agatha Christie. This is a Poirot mystery, and I made it about halfway through. I am really loving the audiobook, so maybe I will return to audiobook on this one, just because of all of them, it's the one I really enjoy the most. And then the next one is Fierce Kingdom by Jen Phillips. This is a thriller. And the reason I kind of put this down was it was getting a little too intense to read while packing. I kept like stopping my packing to listen because it is a thriller. So I think maybe I just need to sit down and devour this in like one sitting, and then it'll do better in the book. Even though the narrator is fine, I like it. It just, I think, is too intense for to read it that way. And then the last of my unfinished is These Broken Stars by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. And actually, this is my longest one. I think I've had this, I started this like a year ago maybe, and I was listening to an audiobook. I was loving the audiobook and the two narrators, and then I got literally like 80-90% of the way done, and then something happened in the story that made me really angry, and I just put it down because I was so angry about this thing that happened. But the thing is, since it's a trilogy, I know that I can get past this thing if I just like go back to reading it, and I never did because I had borrowed it from the library through an audiobook service and had to return it, and then it was like checked out for a long time, so I never went back to the audiobook. But so I went and got the physical book from the library, and since it's so short, I think I can like maybe just skim through real quick to make sure I remember what happens and then just finish it because it is so close to the end. So those are all the books that I have started and need to finish, and hopefully by doing these readathons, it'll push me to finish these so that I don't end up taking a bunch of them with me, or some of them are library books, so I have to return them. And then I have a stack of books that are mostly library books that are things I want to either decide if I'm going to read them in the next few weeks or give up and move on. Also, oh shoot, I have one more unfinished book I just realized, and I don't even know where it is. Oh, ha! My daughter pushed it off the table, so that's why. Neverworld Wake by Marisha Peschel. This is the one I'm actively reading right now, so I wouldn't call this as one I've started and put down because I started it a couple days ago and I'm actively reading it and about the like 1/3 point. So this one I'm currently reading, so I will finish that one probably first of all of these. So anyways, back to my stack of like kind of library books, mostly library books. There's a couple I own that I want to read, and some of them are part of the Emojiathon, so that's why I want to get to them. And that is, this first one is I Am Still Alive by Kate Alice Marshall, and this is the group book for Emojiathon, so I definitely want to read this before I have to return to the library. And then I have Letters to the Lost by Bridget Kimmerer, and this is a book I own and I've been meaning to read for a while, and this is one of the chosen books for the Emojiathon, so I thought I didn't pack it away yet, so I must have wanted to read it soon, so I might get to that. And then I also didn't pack away The Death and Life of Charlie St. Cloud by Ben Sherwood, because this is one of my like rereading old favorites that I really wanted to get to, and it's such a short little romantic kind of book that I thought I would be able to throw it in if I was getting tired of the other books. And then I just have 4 library books in general that I just saw and thought they looked interesting, so if I get to them, I get to them, and if not, they're going back to the library in 2 weeks. And one is Cara by Cynthia Kadoata. Sorry, I did not look up how to say her name. And this was a Newbery Award book back in, I don't know, when was this, 2005? A while ago. And I had heard about this book on Cara's channel, Wilde Book Garden, and she just randomly mentioned it like this last week in a tag and said it was really touching and makes her cry every time. And then when I walked in the library, it just happened to be sitting like right in front of me, and I was like, well, I'll just pick it up because it's middle grade and it'll go fast, and maybe I will get it done before I leave. Another one I just saw as I was walking in through the library is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. I've been meaning to read this for a while, and when I saw it in the library, I just picked it up, and if I get to it, if not, I'll get it at the library in Ohio when we move. The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. I had gotten this from the library for Booktubeathon and didn't get it, so it's going to be due back to the library within the next week anyways, and it's kind of a short read because it is in verse, so maybe I'll get it done. And then the last one is Find You in the Dark by Nathan Ripley. This was in the like new book section, and I had recognized it from, I think I saw on Harriet Rosie's channel. I'm not for sure, but that's what I'm thinking I heard it from. And since it was like on the new release and I knew it was a thriller, I just picked it up, and we'll see. So those are all the books. It's like a million books. I know I'm not going to read them all. and that's why I didn't call this a TBR video. These are just my possibilities this month. I'm going to like really keep myself from getting any more books from the library, because that'd be ridiculous since I only have 2 weeks left, and I will keep my, and obviously I can't get any other books out because most of them all are packed away, so hopefully that these will just be the ones I stick to and get a lot of them done before I have to move them all or to return them. So that's my plan for September. I hope you guys are going to be having a good reading month, and if you're interested in joining in either of those readathons, I'd love to hear if you're going to be joining. All right, see you guys later.